Awesome. I hope people will be joining us for this anticipated interview. If you are joining me on Facebook, leave a comment, say hi. If you join me on YouTube, leave a comment, say hi. And I'm able to tell what platform are you coming in from. So I'm excited to do the interview, and I'm also excited to have you on the live stream with us. So usually I will give a minute, then we will start. It's always good to talk to my interview guests live. Okay, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Health Talk 180 show, where we share information on health and healing with holistic protocols. Hi, my name is Jan, your host. Thank you for tuning in. The interview guest for our today's show is George Lane. George is owner and operator of Midwest Health and Nutrition Inc. Many of our audience know George because he is a very active member of our Gerson support community. He is also a admin for Coffee Enema support group. George often provides encouragement and helpful tips to our members of the community. And I really appreciate his effort and he taking his time to supporting us. I come to get to know George through my own healing journey because in Midwest Health and Nutrition is one of my main suppliers of choice for my supplement requirement on my Gerson healing journey. So I'm very, very excited and happy that George is on our show with us to meet with our audience, to introduce himself, and also to find a better way to serve our community and share some helpful tips in order for us to have our smooth, trouble-free ordering process. Please help me welcome George on the show. Hello,
Hi.
George, you're on.
How are you?
Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time. Yes, so Midwest Nutrition, Health and Nutrition is one of my main supplier of my supplements. And I come to get to know you. I talk to you, email you many times before, and you always come through helping me get the supplement that I need. So thank you so much. I want to take this opportunity to thank you.
And we appreciate the support over the years.
And so let us start with, tell us who is the Midwest Nutrition and Supplement, and give a little bit background and you and your support staff. That'll be great.
My wife and I started Midwest Health and Nutrition a little over 10 years ago. And we basically started because I was given the opportunity to speak to some Gerson patients. And that's how I found Gerson, actually, was through the patients. And I was able to hear their healing stories and knew that I wanted to get involved in some way. And we felt like to have a consistent supply of good quality supplements was what was needed most at that time. And that's what we chose, the avenue that we chose to be involved with Gerson at the time. My wife, Tony, is a chiropractor and had some knowledge and background in it, and I had none. So I had to do a lot of studying. But we actually started our company, and we started with one customer, and it was the Gerson Clinic in Mexico. That's now the Health Institute of Tijuana.
Yes.
The very first customer was through the Gerson Clinic in Mexico.
Interesting.
And, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a big responsibility starting out, trust me. And that's where we stayed for a long time with just that one customer. And we worked about 1.5 years or 2 years just with that clinic and supplying things and fine-tuning things and making sure the formulas were up to snuff and making sure everything was the way it needed to be for the Gerson patient. And then from there, we moved into, we developed a few more accounts. Like we supply Healing Naturally in the UK. We've supplied them for a number of years, our supplements. And then we were working with the clinic in Mexico through Ishi Medical at that time. And, like I said, we did that for a number of years to just get our products where they needed to be for the Gerson standards. And then we started in, when we were a couple of years old, probably 2011 or 12, we started with selling to customers like yourself that were using it in their home.
Individual,
yep. So
the individual who are working with Gerson practitioner did not go to the clinic. So now later on, you are able to supply people like me. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was very little of that happening at the time. And then that's when we decided that we would do that. And not long after that is when we found the Gerson support group that you talked about in the Facebook group. I think there was 3,500 or 4,000 members in that group at the time when we started being active in that group, and now it's 28,000, I think, or something like that.
28,000, yes, it's a big group, yes.
Grown tremendously over the last 6 or 7 years, 8 years that we've been involved with it, and we followed that need with developing things that would fit what the individual was looking for. So we had people ask us, can we get everything from you? So we developed the packages that we have. We have a basic supplement kit that has everything that's talked about in Healing the Gerson Way that Charlotte Gerson wrote, except for thyroid, which is by prescription only, so we can't include that, and the injectables, because it's a whole different license that involves the injectables. But that kit has all the basic supplements that you need to get started if you're following it on your own at home without a practitioner, which a lot of people do. A lot of people follow Charlotte's book.
So is that what you call a starter package? That's the package you were talking about, right?
Yeah, on our website, it's called a basic supplement kit, and it has all of those in there. I think it's a 90-day supply, and I think it's $325.
I think it's really good for the in terms of value. It's really good value for the money. Yeah.
It's about 25% less than what those supplements would cost if you bought them individually. You can buy them as a kit. We make the kit as affordable as we can. In the United States, there's free shipping on orders over $150. So, of course, it has free shipping as well.
Awesome.
And it gets shipped priority mail.
Okay. So what is the difference between your supplement versus someone else's? Like I know our Gerson patients always go to you. You are you are the main suppliers, and it's just because I feel trusted because it was recommended by my practitioner, and then the other patients order from the same source. Can you tell us what makes you different from others?
The primary difference, and what we worked on those first couple of years that we were working with the Gerson clinic in Mexico, is we removed any fillers that were, we used to all have something called magnesium stearate in our supplements. And if you look at the average supplement on the shelf, there's magnesium stearate in it. And it's a filler that makes the supplement easier to encapsulate or make into a tablet. So when you have that powder form, that product makes it easier to make that product. So we used that in the beginning. Well, I believe it was Dr. Savani, but it could be wrong, but I believe it was Dr. Savani that asked for us to remove that. And we did some research, and the reason why is it's linked to immune deficiency.
Oh, the filler.
Yes. So that magnesium stearate, in a regular supplement, you're not taking much of it. But when you do Gerson, as you know, you're taking so many tablets and capsules that you were getting way too much of it. So they asked us to remove that. So those are the kind of things that set us apart, is that we worked with them to remove things that we felt made them the cleanest products that we can do. Like most other supplements, we're manufactured in a GMP certified, regulated by the FDA facility. We do third-party testing for heavy metals and any contaminants, that kind of thing that you don't want in your supplements. But really keeping it as clean as possible is what makes that supplement the best that we can make it. In addition to working closely to make sure that it meets the Gerson standards. Now we work primarily directly with the Max Gerson Foundation, which is overseen by Margaret Strauss, who's Dr. Gerson's granddaughter. We work directly with the Gerson family, as well as a couple of clinics that have opened in other places. There's a clinic in India that we supply. And we work pretty extensively with Molly Yang, who runs Gerson China, and she has a clinic in China that she's just getting going over there. And we just shipped some stuff to her today. We ship stuff to China quite often, and it's been helpful to deal with those people to keep our products where they need to be.
Awesome. That's really good to hear. Sounded to me that not only your supply to the Gerson patients in North America, you also supply to Gerson patients in Europe through UK, and also now you are expand to Asia,
Yes, yeah, we
India and
have
China.
a clinic there, and we ship to patients all over the world. We shipped to Malaysia last week. We've shipped to Poland. I mean, there's several places that we ship to. We ship all over the world, and we ship um, via United States Postal, and then it carries from there. But you know, right now with the coronavirus, the international shipping is a little bit of a challenge. But I got word today that a package we've been looking for about a week or so got delivered today. So they're starting to catch up, I believe. The
Okay,
international has been very, very impacted by the coronavirus.
I see.
So in the international packages, we always ask them to allow a couple of weeks. And now with the coronavirus, I mean, this package today, we were afraid it was lost because it took almost 2 months for them to get it, but it did get delivered
Two
today.
months.
We had
Yeah, yeah, that's very unusual. It's
very,
become the circumstances with
yeah.
COVID-19. Yeah, yes.
We're seeing a little bit of delay here in the United States still, and we've asked people, allow 6 to 10 business days in the United States because there's a few days of processing. We're not as fast as Amazon. So there's a few days to process the order. And then there's 2 or 3 days, depending on where you are, shipping normally. But now the Postal Service is asking us to go 3 to 4 days just to give them a little bit of comfort because what they're experiencing is, what they're explaining to me is that they're seeing uh, people are at home and they're shopping more at home now. So they're seeing the volume like Christmas time, but they don't have the staff like they would have at Christmas time. So it's taking a little bit longer to get the stuff.
Backlog. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
But really, I
that's
mean,
really good to know. Even at the best of the times, uh, we need to give at least, I would say, a couple weeks for the order to come through.
I mean, it's best if it's possible to do a couple of weeks. I tell people, I was emailing with a customer in California today, and he wanted to know if he ordered today, when would he get it? I said it's a couple of days processing, a couple of days shipping, and those are business days. So allow 6 to 10 days just to be safe.
Just to be safe. Yes, that's
Yeah.
the best of the time. And then take into consideration our current situation, or I will at least add a couple more weeks to that.
A couple more days, yeah, and
Couple
domestically more days.
domestically.
Internationally, it could take a couple more weeks internationally, but domestically, that's why I say 6 to 10 now. I think we're pretty much seeing that happen right now. And there are some times where there's extenuating circumstances. Last year, we had a heck of a time with product and getting things done, and we were having a hard time getting things shipped properly, and things were getting behind, and we couldn't get the supply that we needed, and we ran into probably a 3 or 4 month period where things were going slow, and they're slower than we like them to be. That's all worked out now with suppliers. We did change a couple of things from the supplier standpoint, but that's a big deal to change a supplier for us because we have very exacting standards to meet the Gerson guidelines of what those supplements need to be when we bring products in. We want to bring in the best quality liver that we can bring in, that we make into our liver capsules. And so you can't just say, hey, I need liver. There's a lot of things on the market. You'd be surprised. There's so many products on the market that we won't buy because they don't meet our standards.
I'm glad you mentioning the little hiccups a little while ago experienced. I experienced a delay in my supplement order, and I'm so glad things work out. I know, you as a supplier, you have your sub-supplier. If you run into difficulties, if you don't get your product, I won't be able to get mine, right?
Right.
But for Gerson patients, the timely supply is so important. And
It is.
one thing I implement in my system, learning from my own experience, is I just want to show, for example, on my bottles, right? Something like this. I will see how much I ordered, and I will calculate forward to see when is my next ordering roughly date. So I have this on the bottle. So I always remind myself, oh, I need to watch out, not wait until the whole thing is gone, but rather Once you get to this state, I'm going to start to order.
Yeah.
So that way.
That you see and you look in advance. Now, in relation to what you mentioned, these hiccups, like I talked about, that would not have helped you then, and you probably had some delays then. And part of the problem was we weren't getting the products, but we weren't getting answers from our suppliers.
Oh.
So when you can't say, hey, I'm going to have this product on Tuesday, our communication to our supplier, to our customers, looked like we just weren't answering questions, but we didn't have the answers.
Oh, you got that. I was wondering because there was a period of time I was waiting, and then same with other people said, well, if you can't ship, why don't you tell me? You know, at least instead of me thinking every day, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So now I understand you were in the same situation as us. You were wondering where is it, when I can get it, so I can give my customer, give my clients an answer, and then you don't have that.
Exactly, and that was part of it. I mean, we could have done a better job, believe me, of communicating at that time. But it was one of those deals where we didn't feel like we had answers that we could give anybody, so we didn't do as good as we should have done. But we finally got worked through that, and that's in the past now. And I think with the network of suppliers and things that we're doing now, I think we'll be fine with having, you know, consistent quality.
Awesome. That's very, very good to hear. Well, thank you so much for the update. I think now we clear the air. We clear the air. So George, can you tell our audience if they do run into problems, and you know, with all the best intentions, we do run into problem from time to time. The problem could be ours, it could be yours, it could be from somewhere else. None of us has control. What is the best way to resolve the issue if something coming up?
What we ask is, we ask two things. If there's a problem or you see something that is coming about, to call my cell phone number, which I know you have and can put on the screen for me.
I will do that right now.
They can call my cell phone number and also to email me. And I do ask people if they can to do both, because sometimes technology being what it is, you know, if we miss your call, we won't miss both of them. But we, you know, if something happens where we don't see one or the other, we're going to get to you. But that's really the thing that we ask, is that they call my cell phone or they email me. And again, if you can put my email address up, they'll have that. And we can definitely address any issues they have. Periodically, we have someone place an order, and they'll call me in 3 days and say, where's my order? Well, you know, it's 3 days shipping and it's a couple of days processing. You got a couple more days. What's going while I'm leaving the country? I didn't know, you know. And so if they can let me know ahead of time, I can definitely, you know, try to avert that and say, look, you'll have to overnight it, or we'll have to do something to change the circumstance if we know something's going on. So if they're ordering and they have something special requested, they just let me know. You know, and sometimes they order a lot of things, but they're out of one thing, you know, and so they'll call me and say, listen, I placed this order, but I'm out of potassium. I have overnighted a bottle of potassium at my cost, overnighted them a bottle of potassium so they don't run out and they don't have an interruption, but they're not waiting for us to process a whole large order, you know, and that happens sometimes too. As you know, sometimes people are placing, you know, fairly large orders, and that takes us longer to process. So if we know there's an issue, you know, we'll address it the best we can.
Awesome.
We don't want you to have a gap in.
George, it's good to know if someone places a big order, but really one item they urgently need, the rest can take their time, kind of sort of speak, then they can just email you, hey, George, I need potassium. If you can send one bottle to me, and I'm good to go for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. If they have the you know, the need for something, we'll overnight it to them or take care of it however we need to take care of it.
Yeah, awesome. You know, I remember I did that a couple times. Well, after I place the order, I will send you an email. I say, George, this is coming in. I'm urgently need this. You can ship that right away. And it just kind of a heads up, right? So we also want to overwhelm you.
Right. Well, you have to remember too, when you place an order, a lot of things.
Yeah. We also don't want to overwhelm you with all the phone calls, emails, and, you know, we just place the order today and tomorrow I'm going to email and phone you. You do need the time to work.
It does take away from what I'm trying to get the orders out. It does take away from that sometimes, but you know, if it's something that needs to be addressed, we need to address it. And that's important to note, is that sometimes what I would say is that, you know, you're ordering 7, 8, 9 items, 10 items sometimes. And if one of them is not quite here, but it's going to be here in 2 days, and we don't know you need this immediately, we can wait 2 days so that we can ship it complete to you. But if we knew you needed that one item out of there, we can take care of that too. So that's what we ask is just, I mean, it's best to let us know if you're leaving the country or you need it for some reason.
Yes, gotcha. And another thing is, even though Vancouver for myself is close to U.S. border, but it is international, right? So we also need to keep that in mind. If I order within U.S., if you can order that sent to my mailbox in U.S., that's one timeline. If I have to have the shipment to my home, that's another timeline. Even though it's just a half an hour for me driving, but could mean 3 and 4 days delay because of the international.
At least, especially going to Canada, it can mean a week or two easily. Canada. We've talked about this before, but we ship on a regular basis to the UK. I can ship a package on Monday and they'll have it on Friday in the UK. I can ship a package on Monday and it'll take 10, 15 days to go to Canada from here in the United States because customs takes a little bit longer. It just takes a little bit longer to get into Canada. Canada's a very tough, customs is very thorough, I guess. It's good, but I guess I don't know what it takes the extra time, but it definitely, we see that with Canada quite often.
It's just something good to know. It's just something good to know. Take that into consideration. Yeah.
That's a good point that you brought up. For a long time, I thought you lived in the United States because you shipped to the United States.
I set up, for those audience from Canada, if you are half an hour from border, it's actually really convenient to set up a mailbox, have your shipment shipped to U.S. set of the mailbox, and then just go there and pick it up. And it's a saving, it's faster and also save on shipping cost.
Yes, it saves a lot of shipping costs for you, and you can get free shipping within the United States where you don't internationally, and it's much faster. Yeah.
Yes, and another thing is I know I'm on Pacific time zone. You're on Eastern time zone. Sometimes if I have to be mindful that my Friday afternoon is already your weekend.
Right. Well, that happens sometimes too. We have somebody say, "Well, I ordered on Thursday." And we're like, "No, you actually ordered on Friday, but early in the morning." And they're like, "Well, for me, it was Thursday night." Okay, I get it, but we see that on Friday, and we're still processing orders from Thursday. So it's the time zone can make a difference. The other thing is, the post office picks up from us here around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So if someone's in California, let's say, and they put their order in at 1, we've already shipped that day. So it doesn't even start processing until the next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
George, could you talk about what are the common questions for supplement that people could have trouble to how to take it? Common mistakes that if you can bring to our audience attention.
The biggest thing that we see most frequently, so the most common, is questions about the potassium powder. I mean, I'm surprised, but we still to this day get people call us and say, "I need to reorder potassium." We're like, "Wait a minute, you just ordered a 90-day kit 45 days ago. Why are you reordering potassium?" And they'll say, "Well, I don't know, but I'm out of it." We do a little bit of work with them to figure out what's going on. Are you working with a doctor? Did somebody change your dose? What's happening? Most commonly, we find that they are adding the powder directly to their juice versus 2 teaspoons of the solution. So the potassium comes in 100-gram powder. It should be mixed with a quart of water. Then you take 2 teaspoons of that solution and put it in your juice. And sometimes when people first start, that's there's so much to this, they miss that point. And so they add the powder directly. So they're taking too much of it and they run out too quickly.
I know why. I know why I first ordered the supplement from you. There's a piece of paper come with the shipment. A good thing I did not lose that piece of paper. I read it. So I stick that on my fridge. And so what I find is I'm making sure I dilute that, put in a bottle like this. Yep. And then I will put a little yellow bag, put my diluted solution in the yellow bag, and put it in my fridge. It will be something like this. I've been using this for the last 2 years. And sometimes for the convenience, I will put a little smaller portion in the darker bottle so I can easily to pour it out. to put in my tooth. Yeah,
yes.
easier. So it's important. There's quite a few. One is the powder need to be diluted in the water, in the liquid form, and cover. And they need to cover, right? You can need to cover.
A dark container like that, covered with something dark, even though it's in your refrigerator and it's dark, every time the door opens and closes, the light comes on, it reduces the lifespan of that potassium. Another thing is, once you mix that, it's only good for 30 days.
Only good for 30 days. It's good to remember. Only good for 30 days. Yeah. So that's important for people on full protocol. They could have that in 30 days. But for people on reduced protocol, they may not be able to consume all that. Then you probably need to make a half solution.
Right. You just have to be careful because that bottle is 100 grams by weight. So it's not a full bottle. It's the weight of it, and it's made to mix with the quart. So they have to be able to measure that out correctly to mix it. If you're on the full therapy and you're adding that to more than 8 or 9 juices, which most people on the full therapy are doing 12 or 13, you're going to run out of the bottle of potassium in about 16 days after you mix it. There's 182 teaspoons in that quart of water that you're mixing it with. So they're going to run out. So generally, that's what we see. Also, sometimes people read the book and they start out with a higher dose, which is directed in the book, but they forget to reduce their dose.
Oh, I see.
Potassium gets cut in half, and from 4 teaspoons to 2 teaspoons. And some people either forget or they miss that in the book. Again, I mean, we know there's a lot to this.
There's a lot of details. There's a lot of details. Yes, yes.
Very overwhelming at first. So, you know, we're very familiar with how it works. We're very familiar with what the book states and what you're going to do. Now, having said that, there are doctors, Gerson practitioners that will recommend a different dosage for whatever reason doing the test. We don't get involved in that. We're not doctors. That's the thing. If they're following the book, I can help them. But, you know, I did have a gentleman call me actually probably about 6 months, maybe a year ago. It cracks me up because he calls me a lot for his orders now because he argued with me that he was taking the right amount of potassium. And I said, sir, I'm sure your doctor doesn't want you doing that. He said, absolutely, it's written right here. That's what it says. And he said, wait a minute, that's not what it says. He was taking double the amount that he thought the doctor had said, but the doctor didn't say that. So he was like, you're right, it is a lesser amount. And he you know, ever since then, he's called me to place his order because he appreciates that we knew he was taking more than he needed to. The thing, it's not going to harm him, but he's wasting it, and it's going to flush out of the system.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's all good to know. That's all good to know. Well, thank you very much. Potassium is one area that there's so much detail sometimes people miss, right? So, and in the support group, often that question being asked. Yes.
Yeah. The potassium is a very common thing. And that's why we put that slip in there. Probably after 4 or 5 years of people doing this, we put the slip in there. It says it on the bottle, but it's hard to read. We'll put the slip in there. So that's our reminder that you want to mix that. So that's probably the biggest, you know, issue that we have. And then, I mean, behind that, people trying to get things like the thyroid is very hard to get. It's by prescription. And if you don't not work with a doctor, you know, we used to have companies overseas that were sending it, and it's become unreliable. We don't have a source for that anymore, as well as the injectables. The people that go sometimes to the clinic, they're used to seeing the injectables, and you know, they're hard to get. And it's probably the second biggest question we get is how can we get the injectables, and they're very hard to get.
Right.
Consistent.
Yeah. Well, at least we know what you do not carry, so they can find other sources. I think these 2 items are the one that people need the most, need often, but you don't carry. But I think there's a few others. It's very common items people can find from Amazon. And I think you carry, I would say you carry probably 90% of the items the Gerson patient needs, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we carry a lot. We, you know, there's a product that was used for a number of years, and it's used still by some, and some don't use it. But it's called Emphyzyme, and it was made by a company named American Biologics. And the company ended up, they decided, the owner of the business retired and basically just closed the business. So that product was hard to get. They were the only ones that made it. So we started making it so that there wouldn't be an interruption in that. So we carry most everything that is needed for the Gerson therapy. Now, there are particular things that some practitioners recommend that we don't carry, but that's, you know, again, they're readily available on Amazon or wherever you need to go for those.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's very, very helpful information. Now, before we say goodbye, is there anything else you like to add?
I really think that covered it. I think really the thing is that we appreciate, all the support. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the problem we had last year, and we do appreciate. We have a lot of very loyal customers, and that carried us through that time, and we do appreciate the people that are still here today with us, that have been with us for a number of years. We do appreciate the support. It's been very important to our family and the families that work for us.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support on my journey and for your support to and many of our members in our Gerson support community. And I know not only you provide supplement, but also you provide encouragement, helpful tips, and in the support group. And I just want to thank you very much. I know a lot of members they appreciate that too. So thank you. Yes.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And then now people can put name and a face, your company name, your name and face together. So if they have any problems, ordering any special request, making sure phone or email and give you a heads up. So together we'll make our patients' healing journey or smooth one, enjoyable one. And
yes, as best we can.
You. Thank you. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
That's George Lane. As you can see, he is very passionate about helping our member of the community, healing community, and he is here just really show his support and his eagerness to help. So as he said, feel free to contact him on the email and phone number if you encounter any issues, and making sure give yourself ahead of time. Order ahead of time. That's really is the best way to ensure you receive the supplement that you need. Well, thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoy this video, please making sure to check out my YouTube channel, Health Talk 180. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So every time when I upload new videos, you'll be notified. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next video. Bye-bye.